Hi there everyone, and welcome to my latest installment of Adventures in Retail. And if you can't tell from the title, this video is going to be all about poop. I was debating whether or not to make this video, but the whole point of me doing this series is ridiculous stories that I have about working in retail, and I realized that I have more stories than I should about poop. So I am gonna tell them to the internet. I think it goes without saying that if you don't like poop, can't stand to hear people talk about poop, and do not even want to have a shitty day, pun intended, you could go ahead and skip this video. We'll still be friends. It's okay. I'm not mad. Now, the first story that I have is actually the first time that I remember seeing a turd where it really wasn't supposed to be. It was actually a moderately slow day, and I'm at the front counter at my job, and me and my manager, who is up there with me, see something in the aisle near us that we think is a Tootsie Roll. So we walk up to this mysterious little nugget, and I look down, and of course I just state bluntly, that's a turd. That's totally a turd. And my manager goes, oh what? No, that's not a I mean, she screamed and howled bloody murder so loud that like everyone throughout the store was running because they thought that she had like cut herself. And she's, oh my god! Some filthy animal! He just who leaves a turd in the middle of it? And I can't even properly pantomime the amount of screaming, and I'm just 14 years old just standing there going like, okay, I get it, but I don't know how do I clean this up? Okay. I ended up like not even having to clean it up because another manager came and did it. But I remember just like standing in the corner like, I don't know the protocol. I don't know what to do. And like, yeah, how lovely it was to have been naive about poo. I'm not anymore. It's sad. My next one is actually not about people shit. At this one job that I worked at for a very long time, it was right off the beach, right off the water, and there was this road that would lead to it, and further up the road was an actual horse ranch, and they would have horse riding lessons. And what they used to like to do with the people that they were riding is they'd take them down the road, swing them around the beach, and peg them back. And there was no problem with that. It was fine. We didn't mind. The only issue is that sometimes the horses had to go to the bathroom, and the people riding them, like the horse would take this massive horse shit in our parking lot, and none of the company of the horse riding lessons or the instructor, no one cleaned it up. It's not like, oh, we'll be back in a little bit, or no one brought a scooper with them. Like, they would just let their horse take this massive shit. I don't know if any of you have ever seen a horse shit up close, but it's basically just the size of a small dog. It's just, so it would involve one of the guys that I worked with getting basically a shovel and a trash can and having to go out there and take care of this horse shit. And it was just, it was just so obnoxious because like, who does that? And yes, if you are wondering, there was this one time that someone did in fact step in a huge pile of horse shit getting out of their car. And yes, there was a lot of malarkey and screaming that we had to deal with. And eventually, like, the manager of the store did have to call down to the horse ranch, but they did it anyway. They still would come down there, and they did not care. I guess when you own horses, you just don't care. So yeah, so it would involve one of the guys that I worked with getting basically a shovel and a trash can and having to go out there and take care of this horse shit. And it was just, it was just so so obnoxious because like who does that? And yes, if you are wondering, there was this one time that someone did in fact step in a huge pile of horse shit getting out of their car. And yes, there was a lot of malarkey that we had and screaming that we had to deal with. And eventually, like, the manager of the store did have to call down to the horse ranch, but they did it anyway. They still would come down there, and they did not care. I guess when you own horses, you just don't care. This next one is just an ominous one. I was at the counter one day, and this woman comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, there was no toilet paper in your ladies' room." Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I will get on that. I didn't mean to inconvenience you." "Well, you don't want to know what I had to do to take care of it." And then she walks away. You know what? You're right, lady. I don't want to know what you had to do to take care of it. I'm actually kept up at night thinking about what you had to do to take care of it. I don't want to know. I don't. This one happened relatively recently. I currently work at a retail store, a chain clothing store. I'm not gonna, again, I don't want anyone to sue me. But one day, we open up the handicap dressing room stall, and someone had taken a massive dump in the dressing room chair. And I just remember, like, just hearing an "oh my god!" and then all of us kind of like looking like, what's going on? And then just God. And the funniest thing is that this is like a very corporate establishment. Like there's protocol and rule books for everything. So like my two managers are up at the front flipping through these binders trying to find the proper protocol for giant shit left in the dressing room. And finally, one of like this older lady who'd been there forever and a day goes, "Fine, whatever, I'll take care of it." And she apparently put on gloves, grabbed a bunch of paper towels, and like picked up the shit and threw it away and cleaned it up. Well, she's a lot more loyal than me because I sure shit wouldn't have done that for this job, like whatever. We just kind of, the general consensus is that we figured it was like perhaps a senile older person who forgot that they weren't in the bathroom, but we took care of it. I just thought it was hilarious that there was no protocol for giant dry shit left in dressing room. Another horrible time there was poo when there was not supposed to be. I was at my one job. It was a Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend, one of the summer weekends, and I live in a shore town, so it was very packed. Store was very busy, and I was grabbing some things from the back and running them back to people at the registers, and I remember seeing a weird brown smear in the middle of the center aisle. And I didn't really have time to register it because I was trying to hurry up and help everybody, but I was just like, oh. And I kept running with my rolls of like quarters and register tape and crap. So later, I hear from afar, "Oh my god, son of a bitch!" And I look over and one of my other coworkers is just angry and like shaking one of his shoes and he's just furious and fuming, and I come up to him like, "Hey, what's wrong?" And he goes, "Somebody took a shit in the bathroom, took the shit in their hands, and smeared it all over the walls. Like there's handprints and marks all over the inside of the only stall of the men's bathroom. And then there was a trail, like footprints and then streak marks leading out the door of the store." I just remember my first reaction being, and I basically hid. Like I ran and I hid and did other tiny tasks to avoid having to clean any of that up. Like just hid. And I'm not even ashamed because I didn't want to deal with any of that. We basically figured, like we had no idea. We didn't know whether, because the hand marks were up really high, like adult height. So we kind of all figured it was maybe a mentally handicapped person or something. We obviously didn't catch the person, but it was just, we were so upset, and it was just a very busy day, and there's poop everywhere, so much poop, and I did nothing to help. I'll admit it. I just fed my coworker to the shit demons. But one day where I didn't get spared by the fecal gods was my last day of work before I went off to college. It was the summer after my senior year of high school, and I'm gonna go away to college for the first time. I was so excited. It was my last day of work. Everyone was so nice to me on my last day, and I was having cheery, teary goodbyes, and it was toward the end of the night, and we had to clean the bathrooms. And we go in there, and one of the toilets is clogged in the ladies' room. So the only other person helping me clean is this 14-year-old, and I'm being a nice, generous person because I'm gonna be gone the next day. So I told the younger person, okay, why don't you get started on the men's room and I'll take care of all this unshit clogging the toilet bullshit. Like, I'll take care of it. You just go get started in there and get that cleaned up. So I'm unclogging this toilet, and it is not a little bit clogged. I mean, like, it was clogged. Like, there was some form of clog in there. And then I'm thinking either one or more people went to the bathroom on top of the clog. So it was just a literal gross just cesspool. So I'm trying to unclog it, and just with gloves and everything, because, like, come on now, but still it's like trying not to breathe. And then I hear from the men's room, Emily? So I go in there, and in the men's room, you know how there's like the toilet bowl and then the tank's right here, and there's that little space between the bowl and the tank? Some monster took a massive log shit right on the back part of the toilet and just left it there. So at this point, I am screaming, son of a bitch, motherfucker! And a lot of my coworkers were like, I didn't know Emily cursed. Because I don't curse at work. But some bastard had just left a huge shit log for some poor son of a bitch to find. And I was the poor son of a bitch. And the other toilet was just so clogged, just so clogged that I lost every ounce of my sanity, and I was just swearing and just throwing things, and oh god, and it was awful. It ended up to the point where my one manager was like, I think you need to go home because you're just irrationally upset. But I couldn't really go home because we still needed to close up the store. We needed to like snake the toilet, and it was disgusting, and it was just, and it made it all worse. Because if it had just happened, if one day later, if I had asked to be off from work before I went to college one day earlier, I would have missed this massive shitstorm of 2010. But no, I was caught right in the middle. As you can tell, I was very enraged by this, simply because I cannot believe like this kind of stuff happened. As I said, some of the things we thought might have been people with less mental faculties, but I think that the more of these stories were by people who just did not care and just left their grossness for other people to clean. And that is wrong, you bastards. So if you stuck with me throughout this entire video about poop, God bless you. I promise that this will be the only video about poo. None of the other adventures and retails will be about bodily fluids, I'm pretty sure. Or if they are, I will announce it and warn it ahead of time. But I couldn't have these stories in my brain and not share them if I was going to have an entire video series about retail. Because it's just ridiculous, the things that people do in public with poop. So please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if that's your thing, and I want to tell you to share it, but you know what, just share it to someone who's having a shit day. That's my request. Thank you.